What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. Today we have the data download here on Global and Japan for the Global Version Anniversary Treasure Sugo-Fest. Obviously this is the treasure map Sugo-Fest, and we have a brand new legend being Okiku and Izo, and luckily it is not a dual unit. I say luckily because I feel like we've had a lot of dual units over the past few months, and I'm actually really happy that it's not another dual unit. So we'll go through all of the abilities of the new characters in the batch, of course, and we'll go through the Sugo-Fest information. So of course this is going to be split into 3 separate parts. The Sugo-Fest officially begins March 11th, 1900 PST time, and that is for part 1. Part 2 is going to be starting on March 12th, 1900 PST time, so the day after, and then part 3 of course is going to be the day after that. Personally, I am going to be waiting to be pulling on part 3 because both Kara and Wanda, Kinemon Denjiro, as well as Okiku and Izo, all 3 of those units, actually literally every unit on this banner artwork I do not own, so we're going to be going ahead and doing our pulls there. So if you guys are interested in that, I'll probably live stream all of that once that actually goes live, of course. But then you've got part 2 with Odin available, and then Bon Clay is going to be on part 1. So depending on where you want to pull, you gotta wait for those specific days, of course. But this is a pretty interesting looking Sugo-Fest as we go into the actual steps here. The first one is going to be a discount multi, which is great. We love to see those on the Treasure Sugo-Fest. Unfortunately, step 2 is really bad, going back to a legend and a rate boosted step. But things kind of get different here on the third multi, as it says 77% chance for a Sugo-Fest exclusive. But unfortunately, it says Last Wanted poster has a 77% chance for a Sugo-Fest exclusive. Like, I just don't understand why they're doing that. Like, why isn't it a guaranteed legend? So if it's not, you know, if you just miss that 77% and you end up landing in that 23% of people that don't get a red, it's just a regular rare recruit. Like, I don't understand it. It just feels weird. If this was every single wanted poster was a 77% chance, bro, that would have been amazing, actual god tier. But of course, they're not going to go that crazy. 77% chance for a Sugo-Fest exclusive is just... it just feels like a slap in the face. It really does. Like, it's just so weird. You've got a guaranteed legend or rate boost again on the 4th. The 5th is the first guaranteed legend step. Nothing on the 6th. And then the 7th is the first new character, which can get you either, you know, Izo and Okiku, which is a legend, or the 2 other characters being the Sulong Inu or the Sulong Neko. And of course, it's going to be cycling all through this. Another new character step on the 10th is relatively generous, so they're pretty close together. But it sucks that you, like, the first new character step is literally the 7th multi. It just feels really, really bad to be pulling on something like this. If you go all the way to the 25th multi, you're guaranteed to get Izo and Okiku, but... it's a bit excessive for me, for my liking. But let's actually talk about what they actually do. So Izo and Okiku, we'll go through them in a little bit. We'll go through the rare recruits first. So the first one here is Cat Viper, quick, slasher, free spirit. Captain ability is cruise, normal attacks ignore enemies' defensive effects, but cancels all cruise defensive effects. Wow, okay, so as a captain, you bypass enemy defensive effects with normal attacks for your whole team? That's crazy good. Boost quick and slasher character's HP by 1.3, attack by 2.25, but then boost his own attack by 2.75. Okay, so it's a pretty bad captain effect in terms of the values, but really interesting that a rare recruit like this can just enable you to bypass enemies' defensive effects. That's actually really cool. 11 turn cooldown, reduces threshold by 5, reduces special bind by 3. Okay, it does have reduced cooldown, which is kind of interesting, but 3 turns of special bind removal, and then doubles quick and slasher character's attack for 2 turns. I don't know, it just seems kind of weird to me. It reduces the character's special bind by 6, but then only removes 3. And there's no double special. That's not double special activation. I don't know, man. That just feels kind of weird to me. Attaches to a lot of units though with the support, and it adds stats, and if you hit a perfect, remove 1 turn of damage threshold. That's usable for sure. Not the best support in the world, but definitely usable. And no rumble stats, obviously, but that sprite looks absolutely wicked. So that's Neko. He seems okay, but I don't really know how often you're really going to use a character like this outside of the treasure map that he's going to be boosted on. Remember though that because this batch of TM units is debuting with a legend, these rare recruits, both Inu and Neko, are going to be pullable in other treasure map Sugo-Fest moving forward. So if if you do miss out on them, you'll be able to get them later on, which is at least, you know, kind of like a saving grace, I guess. So that is Neko. Moving on to Inu, Dogstorm, who is a quick slasher free spirit as well. Captain effect is essentially the same kind of thing, boosting quick and slasher characters attack by 2.5, 1.3 health, bypass defensive effects with normal attacks, pretty typical stuff. Special ability, reduces attack down by 5, reduces special bind by 3. Okay, this kind of makes a little bit more sense. It's still very annoying though. And then doubles quick and slasher characters attack for 2 turns. So it makes sense, because if you use both Inu and Neko together, they both have the crewmate effect to resist 6 turns of special bind. You use both of them in the same turn, you get rid of all the turns of special bind. Okay, it makes sense. But saying that though, you do need to have both of them on your team, so I don't like that about it. Still, I don't know, these 2 units, I understand why they're built this way, but I'm not really the biggest fan of them, to be honest. Crewmate effect is nothing really too crazy, seems about the same. And once again, attaching to the same units, and if you hit a perfect, you remove enemies' defense up. Am I missing something? He didn't really remove defense up, did he? No, they just really brought that out of nowhere. Okay, that's very, very bizarre. And of course, no rumble abilities, and that sprite looks very small compared to what Neko Mamashi's one was, but yeah, the Revocrit's a little bit underwhelming, honestly. Was really hoping for something a little bit more exciting, a little bit more enticing, but hey, these characters are going to be the big boosters in the treasure map. But of course, the biggest booster in the treasure map, and the character that you'd ideally want to get to make sure that the treasure map is going to be a lot easier for you, is this one right here, the brand new Sugo-Fest exclusive Izo and Kikunojo. So this unit, as we said, is not going to be a dual unit. It is a quick super type unit, which is yeah, pretty interesting that they decided to go down that route. So quick slasher shooter is the class combination here. The captain ability is going to reduce the crew's paralysis by 10 turns, and then also will make quick slasher and shooter characters quick and deck slots have matching slot effects. So that's pretty nice. I mean, great utility with matching slots and 10 turn paralysis removal. This already has me kind of worried about what this treasure map is going to be like. Just seeing this utility means that there's probably going to be heavy paralysis in this treasure map, already seeming very, very scary. In terms of the actual values though, so boosting the HP of quick slasher and shooter characters by 1.5 and giving them a 4.75 times attack boost. However, if you use their special for 3 turns, instead of the 4.75 attack boost, it becomes a 5 times attack boost. So yeah, damage is going to be relatively fine. Nothing game breaking though. The way I see it though is just health boost, attack boost, a little bit more matching slots, and paralysis removal. It's a pretty basic captain effect, honestly, but it seems good. Like, I don't really see a glaring issue with this. This is a perfectly acceptable captain effect in my eyes, though it is kind of weird. Like, why do they go out of their way to be like, you know, if you use their special for 3 turns, you get the buffed captain, where it goes from 4.75 to 5 times. Like, they could have just literally kept it as 5 times all the time, and it would have been fine. I don't understand why they decided to do that. I feel like if they were going to do that, it probably should have been a more significant jump, but it's fine. It's still perfectly acceptable in my eyes. Going over to their super type, remember you get access to their super type if you use them as a captain only, and in order to get access to it, you do need certain characters such as Odin, Kinemon, Raizo, all the scabbards, including, you know, Odin himself, but also it says Hiyori, Momonosuke, and Edward Newgate all count towards this as well. So that makes sense because of Izo being included in this character. So one of those characters, or when the crew has both chain lock and a slot boost activated. Pretty weird actually, that you do need both of those effects to be active in order to get access to it. So if you're not using those specific units on your team, it may actually be kind of difficult to proc this. But in terms of what it does, when the crew has a chain lock multiplier, boosts the chain lock by a plus 0.3 and changes the middle row character slots to Wano, and that doesn't go through block orbs either. That's not that good, honestly. I do expect that they're going to have a chain locking special ability, but this is just not, it's not really that good, because if you're using them as a captain, I don't really see how this is going to help you out that much. I mean, middle row into Wano? I don't know about this one, man. It seems kind of whack. 13 turn cooldown. Deals 100 times their attack in typeless damage to all enemies, so pretty good damage there, and of course damage dealing special is very nice. Then it will give you a 3.5 times chain lock for 3 turns, so essentially it's a Shanks crew chain lock, which is good. If the captain is a slasher or a shooter, extends the duration of your slot effect boosts when you launch the special by 2 turns. That's pretty cool. I like the extension specials when it's, you know, at least 2 turns. You know, ones that do it for only 1 turn are pretty bad. So this one being 2 turns is good, but this character, it looks like, does not apply like slot effect boost. It's just applying, so at the moment, it's attack, like the 100 times their attack in damage to all enemies, 3.5 chain lock for 3 turns, and then if you've got a slasher or a shooter captain, you extend orb boosts by 2 turns. But then it further goes on to say that if 5 or more slashers are on your crew, change the top row slots into Wano, and if there's 5 or more shooters, change the bottom row slot into Wano, and none of those go through block orbs either, by the way. What is this unit? This unit is so bizarre. Like, personally, just scrap all this stuff. Just, it would have been so much better if it was just changing slots into matching. Like, screw the Wano stuff, because only giving it to, like, 2 units is not really that useful. This is very, very strange. I mean, especially, like, having to, like, you can't even get all of these to activate. I mean, you probably could if you run a very specific team. But in a lot of cases, like, you're probably just going to be running a slasher-based team with this unit. This is just really, really weird. I don't like it at all, to be honest. I mean, I like the chain locking part. I like the orb extension. But, like, the orb changing stuff is just, it just feels really tacky. And it just doesn't feel like a legend. This honestly feels like something you'd see in, like, a limited rare recruit or, like, a Kizuna rare recruit. Like, something, like, very niche, very built for a certain piece of content. So, I can definitely see this is going to be useful in the treasure map in some way. But honestly, this is just bizarre. For a legend, I don't like it. I really don't like the special that much. At the end of the day, though, they got a relatively good captain. Like, the paralysis removal is probably the highlight of this unit as a captain. That's going to be very, very useful. They've got a good attack multiplier, great health boost, just the captain ability itself is really good. And the special ability, the way that I'm personally going to think of it as, it's basically just a chain lock for 3 turns. That's the way that I'm going to view it. And then if you have the super type, of course, you can buff your chain lock by 0.3, going from a 3.5 to a 3.8. If you have double Izo and Okiku, you can make your chain lock go to 4.1 for 3 turns. Like, that sounds really good, but I don't really know where a 4.1 chain lock is going to be super useful. I mean, 3.5 is perfectly okay. I don't know, man. It just feels a little underwhelming, you know? As for the crewmate effects, every time another slasher or shooter uses a special, -1 cooldown, that's actually pretty good, and 75 stats to slasher and shooter. The limit break abilities, we've got slot bind only by 5, we've got critical hit, which is 80% for 80% chance to land 8% additional damage, which is fine, and then barrier penetration, which is very good, and their support effect attaching to all of those units, essentially the characters that proc the super type, which is good. And it says if you're inflicted with paralysis, reduce it by 2 turns. That is actually a very good support. It literally might be the highlight of this unit, is that support. That's gonna be a very, very good unit moving forward. So we need to go ahead and have a look at their rumble abilities now. So hopefully this character is slasher related. I think slashers definitely need a good defensive style buff. So let's go ahead and have a look and see what they're doing. So, okay, they're gonna be for quick characters. Okay, quick teammates, level 5 speed, level 5 defense. And for the first 40 seconds, they give themselves level 3 CT up, and for the first 30 seconds, strength type enemies CT speed down level 6. It's not a bad passive, not saying that it is, but I feel like this type of passive, but for slashers, would have been so much more useful. I think slashers definitely need a character like this to just give them more bulk, but at the same time, saying that, quick also need a bit more bulk. I think this could definitely slide in very well with the quick team. And another thing about the quick team is that they don't have a lot of speed increase either. If you actually run like a pretty optimal quick team and you look at the buffs that you have, you actually don't have a lot of speed, and the defense is a lot lower than you'd think it is. So adding this to the team, I think, is actually not too bad at all, especially when you partner up with characters like Akainu, Magellan, Kaido, right? This is going to be a pretty good addition to the quick team, I feel. And, you know, obviously they're building teams in such a way where if you have the quick team, you're very good against strength. If you have the strength team, you're very good against dex. If you got the dex team, you're very good against quick. So this is just adding to the fact that, you know, quick teams are built to beat strength teams, and this is going to help them out a lot. Of course, it only helps in the first 30 seconds for their passive, so we'll see what their special does. 26 CT is very respectable, very, very good. Targets 2 enemies for 1 times their attack 6 times. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, this unit's going to be a very useful unit to have on such a low CT. I mean, I say it's a low CT. It's low comparatively to a lot of other units, because most characters, that come out these days are ranging between, you know, 26 to 30, in that range, 25 to 30. So this is actually not too bad. And then it also says strength type enemies in a large range horizontal, 100% chance of 10 seconds of special bind. That is ridiculous. Yeah, this is a very good unit for the quick team. If you're aiming to build a quick team to take strength units on, this is definitely a unit you want to have. Switching things up, before we end this video today, there's a couple of other things we need to talk about, and that's the fact that in this treasure map, the unit that we're farming for is Kanjuro, which I guess kind of makes sense thematically with Izo and Okiku. And you can see some of the boosters here. We've got the Arena San Juan Wolf, Kamazo, as well as the Coliseum Jinbei. So all those three units are actually pretty decent, not too bad at all. And also another thing to add before we end this video today is the fact that they're going to be resetting the ink bottles. Finally, it's only taken them 3 months into the year to do it, but finally you can actually purchase another set of ink bottles. So you can purchase essentially up to a full max ink level on one character by buying 15 of the large bottles and 50 of the small bottles. So you can go ahead and do that if you guys are interested. I personally will probably buy it because I absolutely love the ink effects and I really do enjoy them. So I will probably purchase them, but it is what it is. But you can only purchase them once a year. So I hate that they do that. I feel like this is probably something they should reset once a month, because I mean, ink bottles don't really add anything to a character, at least, you know, not statistically. I feel like it makes sense if it's fine. You know, we could just purchase one of them a month just to get an aesthetic addition to one of our characters. I don't know why they don't do that. Either way, just wanted to give you guys that little bit of information because it's exciting for me. I don't know, for some people out there, it's also something very, very exciting. So all in all, I do feel like this is a pretty underwhelming batch of characters. I think Inu and Neko are okay, but they work very well together. And with this unit as well, I think it would have been a lot better if there were some slight tweaks to their specials specifically, and also their super type. I feel like the super type and the special aren't super amazing. I feel like they're probably one of the weaker legends that we've seen in like the past 6 months. I'm sure they're going to be very good, but I just don't feel like it's that exciting of a character. Hopefully towards the end of the month we'll get a new batch of characters that are a little bit more exciting, a little bit more powerful. But anyways, that is going to end this video today. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about this whole batch down below in the comment section. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and if you guys did, make sure you go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.